Good day all, it is 14:44 p.m. on what they tell us is the 25th of September in the year 2024. Of course, it's all up for debate. This is the Self-Preservation Society. I'm Basil, broadcasting Truth and Therapy, BBTT, and here I am using the talking stick. And in my often cumbersome and naive way, I'm going to continue and try to explain to you how you're all under spiritual possession. All of you. Under spiritual possession. Sometimes it is worse than other times, but you're all under a spiritual possession because you're not conscious to the true self. You have no conscious awareness of the true self. And what I talk about here and anywhere on my channel is really the product of my 40-year journey. This month marks 40 years since I see my first spiritual medium, Christine Cuenca, and everything that's come from that. Now, I know a lot of you are going to mock me, deride me, this, that and the other, because you can't understand what I'm talking about or don't want to understand what I'm talking about. But I do it with all good intention, with a good heart, with integrity and a sense of morality, because it's the right thing to do and I do it for the right reasons. But, you know, if you think that you've somehow transcended in some way, shape or form because you've become spiritually aware, and yet you don't understand what spirit is, then you're no better off than you were before you become spiritually aware. I wouldn't have said this 40 years ago when I started, because like many of you, I thought that becoming spiritual would provide me with the means of unlimited knowledge and awareness and knowing. And indeed it does to a point. But we often stop at the spiritual self. And I don't care who you are listening, and I urge you all to share my work, especially with spiritual mediums or spiritualist groups, this, that and the other, or any other group where people talk about being spiritual, this, that and the other, because it is my contention that they have little or no awareness or knowledge about what the spirit truly is. But it's simple to understand. It's took me 40 years to understand it. Spirit is merely the non-physical aspect of the physical self. That's all it is. That is all it is. Whether incarnate or disincarnate, that is all it is. And people get stuck in a spiritual self. And I've said many times, spirit will foster and provide all your wants. That's what the spiritual self and the spirit beyond the self does. I've learnt over the 40 years that I've been on this path, starting with Christine Cuenca, Marvellous, marvellous medium she was. That unless you can attain, seek to know that you can attain conscious awakening and awareness, you'll be forever locked in the spirit as the male, as the female, and nothing else. That's all you'll ever see yourself as, that physical incarnation. You are so much more than that. We are all so much more than that. And you can only understand what I'm saying, comprehend what I'm saying, if you have transcended the spirit in any way, shape or form, to any degree, to awareness of self, where the masculine and feminine are one, where dark and light are one, where right and wrong is one, all the opposites are one, in a balance of equilibrium, in unison and resonance with universal law. Yes, you might experience some of these things in the lower self, the spiritual self, or in the mind and the ego, this, that, and the other. But if you experience them there and don't go any further, you really are no better off. No better off. You've done nothing. The whole world is under a spiritual possession. And there's two types of beings in the world. Those with souls, whether they're aware of them or not, and those without souls. And those without souls have generally sold their soul in order that they can keep coming back and materially prospering, physically controlling all those other things, because they've either sold their soul, which is more often the case, or they haven't woken up to the true self, that which transcends the mind, the ego, the physical 5 sense prison, the spiritual self. I know people that undoubtedly have had spiritual awakenings, and that's all they've had, because it hasn't led them anywhere else. Quite often it's led them backwards to where they were, because their ego tells them, or their mind tells them, oh, I know now, I can go back, with a different mindset and do what I was doing before. And I've seen people do that. And it is so sad. It is so sad. The spiritual possession does not always manifest as demons or this, that and the other in the way that you would understand them. It's a mindset. And I've been saying that more and more. It's not the Jews, it's the mindset that they represent. It's not anyone that would cause you harm, loss or injury, a title or a name. It's the mindset that they represent, what Castaneda called the predator mind. And that predator mind has control over the conscious aspect of self. And that's why we're in the state we're in. in the physical and the non-physical, and any other fecking dimension you care to think about or mention. If it were not so, we wouldn't be experiencing it here. What we're experiencing, knowingly or unknowingly. And it is the blind leading the blind. You know, in the 8 years or so since I come back into the spiritualist movement after a 30-year break, I've seen very little, if anything, to show me of any movement that is positive. And forward moving. You know, people around here where I live, in the spiritualist movement, at best they don't like me. I don't care about that. I'm not here to be liked. At worst, they hate me. And they deride me and block me, this, that and the other. Because they're locked in the mind and the ego. And they're all about money and this, that and the other. And all those physical, material, spiritual things. I'm not. That's why I'm so challenging to people. You know, I know a bloke who's well respected in the spiritualist movement, for instance. And he teaches people in all different aspects of spiritualism. But one of the things he teaches is trance mediumship. But woe betide you if you allow another spiritual being, disincarnate, to come and speak through you with their personality, this, that. He won't let you do that. And whatever. For reasons I just cannot get my head round and understand. If I'm sitting with a trance medium and, you know, and my nan or my mum come through, I don't want to hear him or her, the medium, you know, vocalising the message. I want to hear my mum's voice, my nan's voice, their personality, that, you know, and all their different vocal idiosyncrasies, which I would recognise them by. Otherwise, you ain't proving jack shit to me. And whatever. It's not about proof anyway. It's about being aware, isn't it? It's all about being aware. Proof is something that we go round. I've done it for many years. Done it for many, many years. Go round looking for proof to substantiate a claim. No. That's the matrix. All you've got to do, what I've learned, is to become aware. To become aware. You know, the more aware you become, the more you resonate with truth and what is right. And you can't explain it to someone. They've got to feel it. They've got to understand it from their own point of awareness. You know, I could provide the tools, and I'll continue to provide the tools for those that generally seeking to listen and to learn and whatever. I can do that, and I'm not being conceited, arrogant, or boastful or anything like that. I'm not. I can provide the tools. It's really quite simple. But nobody wants to listen. You know, especially those that claim to be spiritual, because they think they've already reached that state of awareness and being and knowing that is nirvana or whatever. And, you know, their ego keeps them there because they feel there's nothing more than that. There is so much more than that. And all the while you're there, you're just under a spiritual possession. You know, I've seen many mediums over the years, and I can do it myself, talk to those that have gone on, passed away, you know, moved on at the end of their incarnation. You know, I can talk with those, you know, and communicate with them. And people will understand that. What they don't understand, what people do not understand, because they're caught in this physical 5 sense prison, the mind, the ego, and at best the spiritual self, is to go beyond that to a conscious state of being, awareness and knowing. And, you know, those that are making money from spirit, their spiritual gifts, gifts my ass. If they were gifts, then you would gift them to people and give them the opportunity to gift you back accordingly. But no, you set a price, £25 for half hour, £30, £40, whatever. You may well have a gift, but you've bastardised it and corrupted it to serve you and not serve the universe. At best, you're serving spirit, that which controls you, and you can't see it because you're under a spiritual possession, corruption, bastardisation of what is the true self, the light and the way, the Lucifer within. This spiritual aspect of you, this etheric version of the physical you. In the words of Shania Twain, that don't impress me much. I wouldn't have said that years ago, but I say it now. It really don't impress me much. What impresses me is those that have gone beyond that. And I'll sit with them and I'll resonate with them and I'll seek to learn from them and share my knowledge and awareness with them. Because ultimately, what I seek for myself and for my fellow souls is freedom. Freedom. The sense of oneness, of I am, and you'll never find that in the spirit. Trust me, I've been there for these last 40 years, been there, doing it, experiencing it, lauding it, until I woke up to the conscious self and the conscious expression of self, which has no gender. It just is. Spiritual possession, people. We're all under it. Whether you're an incarnated soul here, whatever your level of awareness or knowing of that is, you're under a spiritual possession. And if you haven't got a soul, if you've sold it in order to keep coming back, like your rulers do, your rulers keep coming back, your owners keep coming back, because they long ago gave up their soul in order that they could come back, control and manipulate those here in the third dimensional reality and beyond, for the power they feel it gives them. And yet really, they're powerless. They're powerless because they haven't got the aspect of conscious awareness and knowing that we have and yet are in so much fear of and so much ignorance of. We're all under spiritual possession and we're certainly all under spiritual control, because we deny that which we truly are, because our gender tells us so. This physical aspect, that's all it is. Your gender is merely a physical aspect of a bastardized and corrupted soul body. That's all it is. All it is. When you wake up to this, people, wake up to the self, you'll want to sit and listen to people like me that have gone beyond the spiritual self over long years of journeying, and possibly remembering prior incarnations that have led me today to this point where I speak to you in the way that I do. But I'll tell you this, people, and I have no fear about telling you this. I don't care who you are, how you express yourself, how you see yourself, but unless you're consciously awake and aware to the Lucifer within, the light within, then you're under a spiritual possession and you're in fear of that which you truly are. If this message resonates, share the message. Don't share me, share the message. And with all due respect, get over yourself. Get over yourself, and you'll get over those that rule and control you. Palamia, thank you. In Lakesh, in UIC and enemy. Midakoi Oyasin, we are all related, we are all relatives. And I tell you, we're all connected. Look below in the description box for the link to my main BitChute channel where all my work is. Spend some time on there. Share it. Share the message. Don't share me. I don't want anybody to recognise me in this physical form. I want people to resonate and recognise the message that I share. That's the difference between me and so many other people on the internet and beyond. You know, I'm not sending you books, DVDs, cups, this, that and the other. I don't want you to support me on Patreon or this, that and the other. I don't want you to send me stars, likes, this, that and the other. Do it for the message. Don't do it for me. Do it for the message.